Okay, let me actually just check that that worked. All right, all that worked. Let me get back to here, and I gotta pop out this. Bear with me just one moment. Here and see you. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Sure, I see a chart request there. We will do that at the end, but again, if you can't make it for the whole thing, just come back and I will talk about that there. Oh, so first of all, I'm obviously somewhere different. Carpet cleaner for my office. It's going to be soaked all day. So, of course, I was kicked out. So I'm in the kitchen. I think everything I got set up correctly. Don't tell Jess that I mounted the microphone to there. That might get me in trouble, but I don't think she can hear me. So we can talk about that. So yeah, again, if you guys are new here, essentially what we like to do is just a full wrap up of everything that happened on the channel, everything that happened in crypto markets, FX markets, stock market, for everything that I trade, everything that I look at. At the end, we scan for kind of next week's ideas, and we go over your guys' chart requests. So if you have anything, I see someone just already sent in a couple, I'll take a look at, because they can't be here for the whole thing. However, you know, wait till the end, and then we'll do that there. And it's interactive, right? The reason I just don't make a big video about this and send it out is because I like the feedback. So I should just show you the setup. I shouldn't, it's a mess. We had to empty out my gym, we had to empty out my office, and it's all just strewn out throughout the kitchen here while we got the carpets cleaned. But I've got my iPad down here, so when you see me look that way, it's to look at you guys. And then the last thing is that essentially what I'm about to do right now for the next hour or so is what I do every night for the Stats Edge Pro members. And what I do is, instead of doing it live where they have to sit there and watch it, I wrap everything up into a nice little blog post and a Google Doc that has everything that I'm interested in. And I take annotated screenshots of my thoughts of the market and all of that, and just make sure that that's all good to go for them. So again, what you're seeing here is like a preview, I guess, of what you would get there, along with the Discord room that we have. And I'm going to make sure I have that as well. Oh, I see Brett shared the link for this. Thanks very much, bud. So let's just get right into it. And to do that, I need to click that button. Perfect. So then I need this open. Perfect. Yeah, so we like to go over any videos I made this week. I think most of my videos this week were just about the market in general instead of this particular instance of what's going on. All-time closing high for the SPY, which is interesting. Again, we'll go through these in a second. I'm just looking, not for the RSP, which is also interesting. So I see some people there. Hello. Again, I love this to be interactive. So chat as much as possible, kind of about, you know, anything you want to know. If I talk too fast or if I'm going too slow, let me know. As always, it's a super help for me if you like this and share it about and all of that. I think I'm actually going to move some things here. This might be problematic to do live. I may have to undo that, but I find myself twisting and looking down. Again, apologies. Next week, I'll be back into a cleaner office, which will be nice. Oh yeah, that was already problematic. Sorry. Oh. Okay. And here we go. So what was I talking about this week? So I think the only idea that I gave, and this probably would have been last week, was DVAX. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, of course. So as anyone who's followed me for any length of time knows, I'm pretty open book with everything. And with DVAX, I think it was in this. Let me actually just bring up the video so I stop guessing. DVAX. So yeah, under 20 bucks. Or no, where was it? It was right here. Okay. So it was 1882-ish. So I actually entered into this right around this area right here. So I was looking at it on this candle right here. Let me actually just draw that in. I was looking at it on this candle right here. The next day we got a little bit of a pullback, but I really liked the look of this bottoming tail. So I entered in somewhere in this candle. I can't exactly remember where. And then still in, right? I haven't really done anything with that yet. And that's, I think, the only stock I talked about this week because there's some really, really interesting. I talked about how here on the SPY, we made a new high. So the name of that video was New High, What's Next? So I think that was probably right in this type of area. And basically what I said, my synopsis was that if we pull back, that this high is what we should see defend it. And if we don't see that, you know, we're going to look in this area. And I probably talked about the RSP as well. Whereas I was talking about kind of this area right here should be defended. And so far it has been. So if you guys look on the channel, and if not, actually, let me see if I can find this. I did a blog post, and this will be familiar for the pro members here, in which I talk a lot about trading kind of that last hour of the day, because really what's the last tick looks like. And I made this video and this blog post here, you guys can check out there, kind of at your own time, talking about what happens if the market closed at the low of the day. And I ran this whole back test for like 10 years, showing that when it closes right at the low of the day like that, there's like a 63% chance that we're higher over the next few days, which is pretty substantial. I'm just pinging all the ones that I can see here that close right at the end of the day. So when that was going on, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, okay, is this another one that everyone goes, holy crap, this was an ugly close? And then we can bounce from there. Also, we have an algorithm that I'm working on that looks for these end of day closes for 3-day holds across stocks. And so far, it's actually working really, really, really good. So again, I see everyone who's asking stock requests, and we'll just get to that at the end of my scanning here. I just need to make sure everything's open and good to go. So let's just so that was it for the market, right? I was just looking at that individual thing right there. Now let's just get into scanning, get into kind of what I think. I'm going to start with crypto. Let me go into this. We're going to do crypto, FX, and then stocks and go from there. This 1 inch was wild. I would love to say that I noticed it when I was in it. Whatever happened here, it must have been a flash crash or something, but I didn't. But still a decent trade out of there. If you guys want to know what I'm scanning, I basically just went on Kraken's website and I found everything that was super interesting from that Kraken has. Basically every cryptocurrency that Kraken allows me to trade, because that's my broker. Exchange is probably the correct term. So what I do each night, and again, this is all part of the pro product where I talk about the crypto trades that I take as well, because, you know, this is a rant that I've been kind of doing for a while, and I guess I'll do again here. I really think that if you guys are traders, that it would very much behoove you to look at opening a crypto account, even if it's only an incredibly small amount, right? Because the beauty of crypto is that the commissions, they usually don't have like how Interactive Brokers has like a cap. It's just a percentage usually of what you buy. So you can trade it really, really, really small. And it kind of gets a feel to you, because as we're scanning this, right, this is alphabetical order and I'm already only in the B's. So in the beginning, I wasn't so adamant about you guys taking a look at this stuff because there was only a couple cryptos. And I'm going to stop here because it's a perfect example. But now there are tons. And this isn't even like a Uniswap where they're going to let on more garbage names. Like there has to be volume and everything requirements for this, but they trade just like small cap stocks, right? So you can see here for CURV, I had this in the blog post that I do here for weeks over $3. And I was able just to set a stop limit over 3 and have it automatically put out the stop loss for me. And then, all of this basically happened kind of overnight. These are daily candles, but my entry and stop loss placement was all just done overnight. So I woke up the next day and I was already up okay on the position. I would love to say I'm still in all of it, but like I do with most things, I'm just selling out on the way up. It's just like they just trade like small cap or individual stocks now. So, to me, it just makes sense that why wouldn't you expand your trading universe to something that trades the same? And again, a lot of people, the argument I always hear is that, well, I'll just be trading 24/7, 365 and I'll never get any rest. But again, I enter generally via stop limit. So for example, I could do with Kraken, not affiliated, unless someone's around there hears me talking about them, because I would take that, but because I do generally use them. But like I could just say on this one, I'm looking at it over 45, I could just put out a stop limit there. And then within Kraken itself, I can say if that gets triggered, maybe put out a stop under $30 or $40, and then my phone will vibrate, which is that camera, so I can't touch it. But and it will just say, hey, you got triggered in. Because within TrendSpider, I can set these alerts, and then it will just get pushed to my phone because TrendSpider has a mobile app and get pushed to my watch. So I only look at these things once a day. Same with my Forex trading. I was worried that when I started to trade Forex that it would be, really cumbersome as well, but the same kind of thing as happened. Ooh. So this is interesting here with Ethereum. And again, I make these notes because these are the exact charts that I update daily for, again, the Stats Edge Pro members. But and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So if we take a look at this and note this high back here, this kind of May high, how we're actually through that May high on Ethereum. But if we go to Bitcoin right here, you can see we're actually below that May high, barely here. So again, just like anything else, I'm looking for relative strength, relative weakness. I don't think there's any more I'm going to sell all my crypto and leave. I think what we're seeing more in the crypto environment right now is the same thing we generally see in the stock environment, where it's, hey, I'm going to sell my Bitcoin and I'm going to buy Ethereum, or I'm going to sell my this and I'm going to buy that, and I'm going to sell my, people are jumping around this the same way they jump around stocks. They'd say, hey, I'm going to buy Apple and I'm going to hold Apple till it stops going, and then I'll move my money into Tesla, or I'll move my money into this or that. So you're kind of seeing this rotation where one thing is the hot thing, and then the next thing is the hot thing, and then the next thing is a hot thing. And here's another example. I didn't get this one. It actually jumped through my fill, but I set a 45-cent stop limit, and overnight this thing just popped. I was a little bit, I think I only put 46 or 47 cents as the maximum I would pay. If I paid up a little more, I'm sure I would have got it. And again, just stop trade it no different than a stock. You know, risk a percentage of the value of your account, a careful risk management. You know, I'm not ever one to say just hodl and away you go. But, you know, this is something that is interesting to me. So Litecoin here, it had this crazy spike. I think that was the Walmart news. Remember that someone hacked into, like, was it Walmart? Walmart's like press account. Okay, I have that on the list. Yeah, someone hacked into the Walmart press account and said, "Hey, we're doing stuff with Litecoin," and it shot up, and then Walmart came out and said no, and then it shot back down. And again, same with Matic. I have no idea what any of these things do, by the way. I'm a technical trader. I just trade what I see, but right, 165 to 265. This one, I actually have a stop limit here for MINA, and I have it on our watch list there, over $5. If it can get over 5, I'll be interested in that one. But yeah, so I just very much encourage, if it's $100, you know, most of these you can feed with just $100, and you know, you can buy a small percentage of, okay, I don't know why that one's not loading. Yeah, you can just, you know, do a small percentage of whatever type of thing that you're interested in, and you can just trade them like anything else. I don't think I'll be able to. Can I? I can. There's a very elongated looking cup and handle, but I really do like the look of this quantum over 15. And, you know, if you're really interested in knowing what these coins are and what they do, you can obviously Google it, but it's one of those things where, again, I don't care. I'm not a hodler. I'm going to buy this and wait for the fall of the financial system, and somehow my Bitcoin will be fine while everyone else is starving to death. Like, I'm not one of those people, but I just trade them, and they've kind of proven to me enough, I guess, is the thing, that they trade, that people will buy them on breakouts and they'll sell them, you know, they'll sell them after, and I can trade them. So I just, you know, I've got, and for reference, you know, compared to my my equity trading, it's much smaller. You know, it's 1/5, let's say, of the size of the account. Some of these you can get leverage for, some of them you can't. But it's become a different instrument that I trade, and I love it, because sometimes there's days where I have like awful equity trading days, but I'll have great crypto trading days. And some days I don't, you know, I take a crypto trade that doesn't work, but my FX trades work. And again, I just want to summarize. I always like to summarize before I go to the next instrument. This Bitcoin action is constructive. I actually took, and I talked about it, I took a short in through somewhere around here in the low 60s. I covered a little bit into this pullback to 57. I'm still short some Bitcoin, but to be honest, as this goes further on, I'm lowering my stop further and further down, because it very quickly becomes a rejection, which I have. So I have rejection, sell the news, or bull flag, because and this is what I do with the notes that I share with people, as this thing is evolving, you know, the picture can change. So as this thing chops sideways, it becomes from struggling with resistance to now it might just be building a bull flag at resistance. And if that's the case, you know, look out, this thing will pop. My biggest long holding right now in crypto is this Atom, the Cosmos. I've been buying, I think I bought it 3 times in the low 30s, and every time it's kind of spiked up into the low 40s, I've been just selling a bit off of the position and then reloading that bit that I sell off, hoping at some point that we break 45 and this thing goes, right? This big, draw this out, but this big kind of cup right here, and then a handle look right there, and then we broke that. So, you know, you take a measured move of the cup Like even if we do it to there and you go out, you know, you're at 60, 70, which would just be a great little return. Everyone's bragging about, sorry, I just have to take a second. What EQO, I didn't get this, but I guess our AI, Holly, called this. Oh, that was a great little, I guess it did very well. I've been just swamped today. Oh yeah, well you couldn't have gone wrong in that one. That was a good pick. So yeah, so in that market, Bitcoin is looking strong. If that continues to be a bull flag, Ethereum is, I hate how there's different ones and the notes are different across them, but Ethereum is breaking this resistance area. If we hold above here for a few days, Ethereum could be off to the races. Even though I am short Bitcoin, I can, you know, easily say that I think I'm probably wrong at this point. And I'm just going to really tighten up my stop on that. And then I've got a couple long cryptos that I've showed you guys to offset that. It's one of those things. I treat Bitcoin kind of like one would treat the S&P 500 when they're trading stocks, right? A lot of people, they'll, you know, if the S&P 500 is bearish to them for whatever reason, they will look to, you know, they'll look to short or yeah, if the S&P 500 is looking bearish, they'll look, you know, to short stocks. And if the S&P 500 is looking bullish, they'll look to buy stocks. And I kind of do the same with Bitcoin as if it's, you know, the ETF or the major from that. And again, this is something I pointed out, right? Euro USD, I was shorting off this anchored VWAP, which if you're new to anchored VWAP, take a look at Brian Shannon. But essentially, it's just the average price of the market participant for the sell-off. So I was shorting kind of as it was rising in this area. Very good today. I got some covers off around this recent low and some off around this low right here. There. So yeah, some off on this low and some off at that low. Still some of the position just for a trail to see if this thing's going to break. And I think Euro crosses against everything look like hell. Yeah. GBP, I've been doing the same thing. I've been shorting kind of off of these levels right here. What did I, is my whole, it's just this that looks like that. I did something to this mouse, but that's okay. Yeah, I've been shorting off of these anchored VWAPs right here. Not a great trade so far, but not an awful one. So we'll be fine with that. Euro has been really, really volatile. So let's actually, or GBP, sorry, yen has been volatile. I've been watching this bull flag here in yen, and I am long that, but I'm long it via, which is obviously not working out as well. But I'm long some here off of this kind of daily area for GBP USD. I like the fact, or GBP JPY, pound yen. So we broke out of this prior high right here on pound yen. We're coming back to test it. So I'm just kind of buying and nibbling some here to see if this thing bounces up. Now, when I'm trading Forex, I'm doing a lot more of this buying support, selling resistance, just because generally speaking, Forex is way choppier than the other ones. The last one I want to look at is just USD Cad, which is going to make me sad. Oh no, okay. So this is looking interesting. I'm going to put this on watch around 124. So watch one spot 24. And the reason for, you know, I was so either happy or sad about this is I'm Canadian. I trade U.S. equities. All the consulting gigs that I have pay in U.S. dollars. So I really much like, if I can, to have, you know, I want a strong U.S. dollar and a weak CAD, if at all possible. So that's kind of what I'm thinking there with Forex. And now let's get into stocks. First, actually, let's go here for the stocks. So am I blocking this? Bonk. Yeah, kind of. Let's just hit that button, and now I'm not. So this chart, I know it's ugly, it's a bit confusing, but this is basically just all of the sectors that make up the S&P 500 kind of normalized, right? So showing what's doing well, what's doing poorly. This is the year-to-date view. So you can see XLE Energy is doing the best. So we have energy, financials, real estate are kind of carrying the market this year, which is actually interesting because I'm submitting a article to the CMT talking about how it's a good time to invest in Canada. And that's my synopsis of it, is that we have a large percentage of what we look at is energy, financials, real estate, and industrials, with industrials lagging a little bit here. But I like to look at this kind of from a 5-day view as we're doing our weekend wrap up. And it just kind of shows what is moving. You can see consumer discretionary has been the kind of thing holding us up this week, whereas these other indices that I was just talking about are pulling back. So I'll take a screenshot of that and I'll just put my notes on it later. Let's actually put my notes on it right now. And we'll just go. And again, these are just all the notes that, will be in the blog post for the Stats Edge Pro people, so they'll be able to see everything that's going on there. But that's the main takeaway I like to look at for that. And then I always want to see what's the news that's going to be on Monday. And ISM manufacturing may be big. So, we want to watch out for that one. That happens at 11 a.m. This eyes on this. So we need to keep an eye on ISM manufacturing because that might be big. And that just gives me kind of an idea of what to look for the week to say, hey, what's going to go on Monday morning that I have to prepare for? And then we can go into the analysis of the individual indices, right? Let's just move this and just make another note. All-time closing highs. So I'm going to do these major indices that I watch on daily, and I've fallen out of favor, but I always like to look at them on weekly, on the weekends. And really, there's nothing to note here other than insanely strong. I like this zoom out thing, and this is something I got from JC at All Star Charts. Give him a follow if you don't, but wow, that's crazy. It gives you a lot of perspective, I find, even for me. And, my hold time is a couple days to maybe a couple weeks on the rare occasion. Usually I'm trying to sell some of my position on the way up almost immediately within the next 2 or 3 days. And then maybe I'll hold a bit if it's going to continue to move in my favor. But, I'm not a long-term trader. However, bullish engulf month. I find there is some perspective gain to be had as somebody, again, who trades a shorter time frame, going out on a monthly chart and just looking at the overall trend. It kind of takes away all of the little pops. Same thing for the RSP, so I won't make a special note there. But, it's just a good little way to say, hey, I want to make sure that I know where things are going. If there is a kind of nice candlestick formation, but, at the same time, I know everybody was running for the hills on this candle. But then if I go out to a monthly chart, you guys saw that it's just a blip in the radar. It's nothing, Even this pullback on a monthly chart just looks like one tiny red candle in a sea of green candles. I think this is the chart that everybody is watching, and I'm actually just going to just put in a friggin' emoji here again. And come on. Yeah, this guy. That guy right there describes, no? Okay. Let's just do, right? Because the IWM is the small cap index, just for those who don't know. So basically the S&P 500 is larger cap names. The IWM is smaller cap names. And as traders, we trade a lot of smaller cap names generally. So, when the S&P is making new highs, and you can see the IWM here as of years is just kind of chopping sideways, how this thing is just straight line over. That's just kind of telling us that, hey, you don't swing for the fences unless you're trading a lot of these bigger names like Apple and Google and Microsoft and a lot of these big things. Why are you doing that? I didn't tell you to do that. Okay, are you better now? Okay, zoom in and out there 1 second. Let's just go reset there. But yeah, the fact that this thing has been chopping basically since May, just up and down and up and down, just tells me, right, until we break one of these things, you have to kind of respect what's going on there. But if we zoom out to the monthly chart on this one, what pattern does this look like? Right, you've got this base going on right at highs. And then you've got this massive line here, right? It's your very typical bull flag type of setup. Right? I'm actually going to delete that. I'm going to put a note. Just so they know I'm talking about monthly charts. So when this thing finally gets going, one would expect, again, nothing is guaranteed in the market, but one would expect that a break like this would happen in the direction of the primary trend. And that primary trend is up, of course. And, some people would say, okay, well, the measured move from this flag, that puts us way up there. Maybe. It's not my job. I don't predict that far out. There's no benefit to me doing that. But, how crazy is it that all the bears that you see out there are waiting for a pullback? They're waiting for some sort of correction in the market. And my argument to them for a very long time has been, what the hell are you waiting for? It's been correcting now for a long time. It's been correcting now for pretty much the entire year, right? This is January 2021 right here. And ever since then, we've been struggling to make a new high. So yes, the SPY has been incredibly bullish, but the reason I look at this RSP, which a lot of the guys in the pro service will know, is essentially just a breakdown. It's the same stocks that are in the SPY, but they're just equally weighted. So this has been a bit choppy. The small caps have been incredibly choppy. Let's look at mid cap. I don't think this will matter too much which one I pick. So here's the equal weight mid cap stocks. Right, so equal weight again means that each of the 400 names in this mid-cap index all have equal weights when it comes to the index. There's not one big one that is pushing this market around. And again, you can see it's just chopped sideways. Let's actually just look at this. Mid-cap base as well. And I'm actually going to add this, I think, to the stuff that I look at nightly, because again, the mid caps. So we've got the small caps not doing anything. We got the mid caps not doing anything. So, the large caps, yeah, I guess, might be the only thing that's moving out there. That doesn't mean you don't trade. Yeah, I can find a better one than this. I'll look later. It just means that, hey, if you have to know that you're trading something that's in a range. So this is what, I've been talking about a lot, of kind of aggressively taking profits if you're trading these names when and if you get them. Right, XLE continues to make what kind of looks like this bull flag pattern here. If this thing were to break down, I think, energy gets a bit interesting, because that would almost make it a bear trap. If you have a breakout on energy and then a chop sideways and then a pullback, that's kind of interesting to me. But as long as we're above these prior highs on energy, I think you have to be bullish on the energy sector. And then the same here with XLF, right? And I say both are great for Canada. And, the reason is that as long as you're above these highs here on XLF, then this is bullish, right? So financials are bullish here. And then I always like every now and then snarkily make a note that gold continues to be the worst investment on earth. And that's just because it is, right? Even the IWM, if we go to the monthly chart here on gold, yeah, it's okay, I guess. It may be putting in a bullish pattern here, but there's just no reason to participate right here when you can kind of wait for it to start doing something and participate then. In my opinion, gold may have been replaced by Bitcoin. If gold isn't rallying when everybody is worried about inflation, my question is always, when would it rally? Right? It's supposed to be, the only use of gold is supposed to be an inflation hedge. If you think the value of the dollar is going to decrease, you go into gold. But everybody is worried about inflation, and gold can't get off the mat. So, if they jack rates and everyone goes, okay, they've cooled off the economy, there's no real need to worry about inflation going crazy anymore, is gold going to go to zero, right? Maybe. Who knows? Just going to take a look at my atom there. So that is, again, market's insanely bullish from tons of time frame. There's no reason in my mind to be a bear at this point. There was no reason at my mind. A lot of people know that I was, when everything was selling, I was saying the same thing. Now, I thought we would remain choppy until the end of the year. And in IWM and RSP, we still might. In the SPY, I was obviously just wrong on that. But at least I was right in the fact that I didn't get bearish, right? I just didn't start shorting the market and all this, because it pulled back, 4% for a few days, right? It just doesn't make sense to me to get worried about that. Hey, Grant. Okay, so good. We are done our market wrap up, right? Crypto looks bullish. The different FX currencies I went through have their own kind of a thing. And then for me anyway, equities look very bullish. So there's no reason for me to really think that there's going to be any sort of an issue coming up going forward that would make me very worried about what's going to happen. So let me quickly take screenshots of the current existing list. Oh, Lucy has to go off that list. I'm in Lucy, but I no longer consider it a good pickup here, so we'll get rid of that. Blink could still pull back and be a pickup, so I'm going to leave that one on. ACI, I still think you could get ACI, so let's grab that one. And then also grab Blink. Blink, I was hoping for a little late day pullback to get a fill on Blink. I didn't get it. I should have probably bought it as it broke out. This is the thing I was looking at on Blink, right? Long support going on right here, declining resistance, finally cracked over that today. It looks good to me. Playboy, always interested in Playboy. Joke intended. Macy's still looks good to me as well. Gamestop. And this is actually, I'll probably look at that. We had someone wanted me to look at AMC. not an ape. I love Wall Street Bets. I'm not allowed to post on it because I don't really do anything on Reddit, but I think it's absolutely hilarious. And I think a lot of the people who are on Wall Street Bets are smarter than a lot of the people on Goldman Sachs and all that stuff. So I'm very much a supporter of what they do. However, I'm just not, I just can't be that guy to just buy stuff and just wait for it to go up. Long-time listeners will actually know that I was in GameStop around 50 and I sold it kind of on the way up, and then I sold a little bit of it on the way down. So I participated in this jump right here. Now I'm looking at GameStop, and the reason I'm just taking a second for this is probably one of my more controversial plays because it's just a little bit more volatile than most, but this thing looks good to me from a daily point of view. And I'm going to watch over, what do I have in here? I got 185. So yeah, I want to close over 185 just because, again, this thing's been declining like this recently. But if you go out to the weekly chart, this is the one thing that really interests me, is that, let's just draw in the trends here. Right, it's just everything is coiling very, very nicely. Yeah, I'll take this one of GameStop instead of the daily. Right, and I post this, and there was a comment of, I can't believe it's still trading up here. And again, neither can I. I'm getting an old man now, but a gamer. Like, I love to play games. I hate the company because, right, I'd go in and buy a game, they'd try to sell me 17 warranties, and it's just, I can just turn on my Xbox and download it, and then away we go. So I'm certainly not going to, just say, hey, this is a great company, it's going to $1 million. But they raised a bunch of money, and they might do something cool with that money. But again, I'm not a fundamental trader. I don't care. I just see that this wedge is getting just insanely tight on a weekly basis. And I think there's a shot we go here. So I have this on a close watch, and that's my reason for it. It's just kind of the way it is. I don't know, it looks interesting to me. I also think of it as, everyone's like, I can't believe, you hear still people saying Bitcoin going to zero. I think Bitcoin has had a chance to go to zero and it didn't. So I don't think it's gonna. And it's the same kind of thing I'm thinking here with GameStop. I think GameStop has had a chance to get to tank. How many weeks in a row here were bearish? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 10 weeks down. That's, a fifth of a year, and they didn't sell, right? So they're not selling here if they didn't sell there. So I don't know. I'm interested about it. I think if we break this wedge, things could get silly again. And, we know that it can get silly when it gets silly. That would be a clickbait. That'd be a clickbait video. That's what I'm going to do. So I already decided what the short video I'm going to make after this is, and it's going to be my bullish synopsis for GameStop. So it just, again, I wouldn't say it if I didn't believe it. So AMC is honestly looking worse to me than GameStop. It's holding near the low end of its range. I think if you're in it lower and you're looking for where to exit, you just got to watch like $30. A close under $30, you're out. If you're looking to get in, $30 might not be a bad place to take a shot. This one, just from a technical basis, looks worse to me. We can draw the same kind of declining trend line here and just do it through there, ignore that abandoned baby. So, it's got to get over 40 before it's interesting to me, right? And then we've got this area down here, and this is kind of your support zone around 30. So maybe this just needs to develop for a while where, it's going to get tighter and tighter as time goes on. And then maybe after earnings, give a shot in it. If, again, assuming it's still over the support area and it starts to break out of resistance. But again, this one is, less kind of interesting to me than a GameStop would be. My only worry with trading this one over the other is that GameStop's more expensive. So I don't know if like the apes have that power to buy that more expensive stock as much, but again, just looks bullish to me. So let's go. I'm going to go through what is here for questions, and then I'm going to scan to try to see if there's anything that's interesting to me. This is when we'll switch over to trade ideas. Again, trade ideas is kind of my can't live without. TrendSpider I use there because Trade Ideas doesn't have crypto and FX yet, and I like the fact that I can just write notes. I probably can write notes here, and I probably should in Trade Ideas, because this is kind of my trading platform as well as my scanning platform, all that. Links in the description under the video that you're watching. Full disclosure, they're affiliate links, so it will help out the channel if you're interested in buying any of these and you pick them up from here. That puts a few bucks in my pocket, and I appreciate that. If you don't want to do that, you just want to like the video, share it around on Twitter, something like that. That kind of stuff helps out dramatically as well. So we're talking TWST was one of them. Twist Bioscience. It's interesting. This is actually a really interesting one. Let's go to a weekly chart here. Yeah, nice kind of pullback. Right? Nice orderly pullback going on here. And then into the daily, we've got this clear area of resistance. It's at like 120-ish. So yeah, I think you could try that over 120, and I think I'm actually going to steal this one and just add it to the list. I like this one so much. Let's try to mark this up with this and see how it works. Watch 120. Oop, I can't hit. How do I? Yeah, I got to talk to the guys about this. Yeah, this is why I use TrendSpider for this until stop 110. Okay, so that corrected itself. TS anchored VWAPs are nice. Oh, that's a good idea. We have them here as well. So yeah, that's right overhead. So you're gonna hope that that anchored VWAP is gonna get you, a break of 120 is gonna get you over that. I think that is certainly something to take a look at. Let's take a screenshot of that, and I'm gonna add that too. So I know I think there's someone creeping in. I'm just adding this to the watch list that we have there. So again, that's part of the pro product, is I just update a Google Doc every night that has that watch list in it. And then there was the gentleman who didn't make it to all of them, but he wanted me to look at PetQ. Yeah, I see nothing here. It's at support. If you want to take a shot at it, you could. It's got a little kind of an RSI divergence going on here. Earnings is too close for me to take a play on it, but you had support. So if you bought it near support, that seems like a decent play. It's just kind of, there's not enough room for me to do anything with it from a technical point of view, right? I would want to see this downtrend line break before I'd be interested, which is close to. And then again, just earnings, right? And TPIC. Yeah, same kind of thing here. There's a lot overhead. I think you're pointing out these RSI divergences. I think that's what he's looking at. Maybe because I was on Trader TV, which if you guys don't know, if you go to YouTube, type in Trader TV, it's a cool little station that's great to listen to while you're trading away for the day. I'm on there every Friday at 8:45 Eastern. We just kind of shoot the shit about the markets. But this is the same kind of, I like this one too, but earnings is just a little too close. Right, I like, you get a little RSI divergence here. You're playing right near support. I like that. If it breaks out, really your next recent highs are what's that, like probably 45. So that's fine. So these are good plays. I've got nothing wrong with these plays. I'm actually going to spend the weekend. Let me actually take a note in my, and they sent me that little Trade Ideas notebook. RSI divergence study. I am always looking. So again, if anyone's new here, welcome. Leave a like, check out my website, all that stuff. But I am a chartered market technician, right? So it means I studied for years and years and years. I've been trading for many years, mainly as a day trader, but recently as I've become an older man and realized that it fits my personality way better, I've become a swing trader. But I am also very quantitative in nature. That's why we're called stats edge trading, is because I like to, everything I do, I want to start from something that I've at least tested the underlying concept and know that there's a bullish thesis there. And then I apply my technical eye to it. And that's how I trade, where, there's a lot of people out there that will trade fundamentally plus technically. And essentially what I mean by that is they'll have a story. They're like, I like Tesla because Tesla does X, Y, or Z. And then they'll look for patterns to confirm that. I'm the other way around, where I say, hey, I'm going to trade this scan or this algorithm because it says that, there's a statistical advantage to doing so. And then I'm going to wait for it to make sense from a technical point of view. So yeah, I think, if not, it's just a pure coincidence that this gentleman was basically looked at what I talked about with the RSI divergence on this Trader TV show, and then found a couple of them that is interesting to him. So I like this, and it's something I want to study, because I really like the idea of, especially for us short-term swing traders, having not only a relative strength play, which is mainly what you'll see me scan here today, but also have some sort of bottom picking play. So like, I know Brett loves my rounded bottom play, which seems to be like hit or miss. It's really, really on, or it's really, really off. For me, I'm more interested with seeing if I can play with something like this, and then if I can develop an algorithm behind it that says, hey, for a 3 to 5 day hold, these work, then going into trading them from there, especially since Trade Ideas can now scan for these. So again, I like the both of them. Earnings worries me for the both of them mainly. But yeah, so again, the Stats Edge Pro guys, you may start seeing more and more RSI divergences come into the watch list. I love the concept of being able to kind of not pick bottoms. I don't believe in, like, I'm not going to be buying curve as this thing goes on, right? I'm just not gonna. And I really do always believe that for new traders, especially, you're better off or best off always trading with the trend. However, I'm all about just having whatever trading plan makes sense to you in your repertoire. So I'm just basically looking to add those. And speaking of, I actually kind of like the look of this curve. We have a bit of, prices is going lower, RSI is going higher. So we have a bit of divergence going on there. We've got a resistance area. What's this? At like 1550, 16. So if we could break that, this is also what I call a higher low play. And essentially a higher low play, you've got your trend, right? This is a trend, right? And a trend consists of higher highs and higher lows, right? And in a downtrend, it is lower highs and lower lows. So if the stock bounces and then it fails to make a lower low and then it breaks again, then at this point right here, when it broke this, it is technically in a short-term uptrend. And sometimes these short-term uptrends can turn into longer-term uptrends. One, it's not a really good example, but would be right here where this stock failed to make a lower low right there, and then all of a sudden became interested as it broke out this way. So I'm kind of looking at curve there and thinking, maybe, were we watching this? Something tells me we were watching this up here. Could have been. So many stocks. One of the main things I'm scanning for here is heavily shorted stocks, which Trade Ideas does a super good job at. So we're going to watch 15. What was it? It was 16, right? 16. And we're going to stop at 14. And the reason I put watch is one thing I always want to make clear is that, the Stats Edge Pro product is not, it's not a signal service. Oops. And it's because I don't really believe in them. I've just never met, a super successful trader who, spent more or less of their time just copying others. So what I do is I like to educate at the same time that I am, kind of showing you what's going on. So that's why I'm looking at 16 there. Again, this one has a 31% short float we're seeing here, which is ludicrous, right? That's a massive, massive short float. So we'll add that one to the list as well. Research, not signals, Brett says, and I totally agree. Apologies if you can hear my dog guzzling water. Must have been outside playing. Again, the sound and the shadows and everything I can see, that will all be back to normal next week. Just had a dirty carpet that needed to be cleaned. Research, not signals, Brett says. And that's kind of what it is, right? Is that I do research on all of these different markets every single night, and I build a watch list of stocks that are interesting to me every single night. And my hope is that, there's some people who will look at the research and use it to confirm or deny their own type of research. Some people will take a look at the watch list and anything that's kind of inside their, anything that they like, they'll make sure that they'll add. Anything they don't like, they'll take away. Some people, I think, just come honestly for the Q&As. So we have a monthly Q&A that's actually, if there's anyone here from Stats Edge Pro that didn't get the email, just hit me up on Discord, which is another thing we have, is a Discord room, because that will be Monday night. We're hoping that basically we have a live Q&A where they can ask any question they want and I'll answer it. And I sit there for as long as you need. Some of them have been like 2.5 hours long. They're all bring your own beer, very relaxed type of environments. I think this APPN is interesting, but it's got earnings on the 4th, so that's not, it's not enough time. I want to be out well before earnings. Same with Fastly. I think Fastly looks really good here, but, earnings. Mara looks good, but Mara's just going to move with Bitcoin. So it's like I never, trade Mara, Riot, these type of things, mainly because I would just rather trade Bitcoin. SL is a good example of an RSI divergence at work that worked well. You can see the higher highs or the higher lows, in RSI here, then the lower lows in price, essentially just signaling that momentum may have been running out. From there, we've been kind of moving higher ever since. This one's interesting to me, but I would want to see it closer to 9. Again, good short float. If you guys are watching, following along, the short float number is always right here. I'll actually do this and I'll leave it up for a few scans. That's where I can't do that because as soon as I do that, it goes away. Sorry. But yeah, it's just right here. And that's percentage of the float. So curve, I think, that I showed earlier, it was 31% of the float. And again, if anyone has followed the whole Wall Street Bets thing, I think that they've done some really cool stuff where people are significantly more worried about heavily shorted stocks than they were before, simply because they've seen what can happen if they're on the wrong side of a short squeeze. So I'm going to open it up again to more tickers if people want me to look at some tickers for them. I'm just going down this list, and this is kind of my favorite scan. If I don't see much from this, I generally try not to push it. However, and this is just one of those days. When the market closes at all-time highs, it creates an interesting dilemma where something that hasn't gone yet is weaker than the market. and things that have gone yet may look overextended. And I try to play a middle ground where I like to buy pullbacks, or I like to buy breakouts into trends, or again, my higher low play. Like here's Ring doorbell. I've got a bunch of them all over the house, but you can see the technically higher low play that's going on here. So this is a downtrend, and then all of a sudden we pop up and then we pull back. So then if this breaks through, that's interesting. But then I look and we have earnings on November 9th, and I just don't like to sit through earnings. So yeah, so I'm going to do my short video about GameStop. Let's just go through some ticker time quickly. Snap. I would like to get one. That's just gross to me, right? Earnings was awful. Basically, I think the whole thing was Snapchat and earnings. They basically said that now that Apple is really ramping down on privacy and not letting apps cross track you. So they're not allowing, Facebook to track you all across the internet and Snapchat track you all across the internet. They're losing a bunch of money. So, a bad fundamental catalyst. Again, I'm not a fundamental trader, so I don't really care. But other than maybe guessing that $50 is going to hold as support right here, I don't really see a play on that, and it's not something that I would be super interested in. And again, it's just one of those that I'm seeing a lot of good plays as I go through here, but then my eye goes right down to the earnings date right here, and the earnings date is soon in a lot of cases, right? So it's like, what do I do if this is happening soon? Like Live Nation, I'm in, but I need to get out before earnings. And I think I'm in from like a little under $100 or right near $100. And it's just been, it's quite often you'll get no movement right before earnings. TSLA, damn dyslexia. Again, there's nothing to do in Tesla, right? You either got it when it was breaking out, or if you're buying it here, you're just, again, unless you have a back-tested trading plan, something that makes sense, go ahead, but I wouldn't touch that thing up there. RFL, not going to play something that just gapped down like that. If you did want to play this, a very simple play for that kind of thing would be right here. You'd buy it over the high and you'd have a stop right there. Maybe if it holds the gap and keeps going, that's fine. I don't like buying big gap downs because I know that everybody up here is a bag holder, right? Imagine you bought this at $60, or even you bought it at, $30, and then the next day it opens at $7. As this thing rockets, hopefully, you're going to be selling, right? So you got a lot of overhead pressure. LLY. Eli Lilly. Yeah, just too extended from its next support, right? Its next support's way down here, and it's just been up, a couple weeks. If you go to the weekly chart on this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up weeks in a row. I'm not going to buy something that's up 6 weeks in a row. Just can't. I always look at where is my support going to be on a pullback, and because that's where my stop has to go. I can't use just an arbitrary stop loss, and it's the same thing on Tesla, right? So say you buy Tesla because you think it's going to go higher. Where is a logical place for a stop? The low of this gap, so that's $950, and it's at $1,200 or $1,100, and that's not even good support. The next good support on Tesla is like $700, so you're risking 30% of your money on any kind of a pullback to put a logical stop in place. And it's just, so that's what I always look at, is I want to, I think, oh, this is an interesting one. I don't think that moves very much. Yeah, a lot of these are just, again, the pro members may notice that the watch list is shortened, and it's just because it's everything I scan that looks good from a technical point of view has earnings next week, right? And what I try to do in a general rule of thumb is I want a week plus until earnings from the date that I'm planning on entering. So again, before I go, a good example of, something that has a nice area, nice and close, is this Blink. And remember, my idea behind Blink was we had a lot of support right in this area right here, call it 27, 28. And then we had this downtrend line that we're broken out of right here. So then I can look at that and I can say, well, where's a logical place for a stop? And that's right there. So then I'm risking this, and then I have to calculate, is it possible that I make double to triple my risk? Because again, I don't think that anyone who says that they're right 80-90% of the time is full of it, in my opinion. Most of the traders I've spoken to that I would consider way better traders than me, they're right in the neighborhood of 55 to 60% of the time. So then you just got to do the math, right? If you're right 50% of the time and you make 1.5 to 2% of what you're risking, then you make decent money over time. So then I look at Tesla and I say, okay, well, if I'm buying it here and the near support's down there, well, that's my risk. So what are the chances that I get double that? I can't even draw that on the screen, right? I think the chances of that are relatively slim, right? It's so, if I was buying the breakout at 800 and my stop was going here or even here, this may be another decent place for a stop. Well, I'm risking this, and what's the probability I can get double that? Well, that's pretty easy, right? That's just the all-time highs right there. So just a little bit more of an insight on how I think. So, all right, guys, thank you for coming by. I'm going to take off for one more question, and then we'll go. ABN Air. Was it Airbnb? Earnings, right? So this is what happens this time of year, right? It's only for a couple weeks. It's annoying like this. Once a quarter, you get a couple weeks of annoyance, right? I looked at it and I said, well, this is a good looking chart, but earnings, so can't play. Just not enough time between now and the 4th. Yeah, well, you didn't see a color because it's technically more than, I think it's 3 days out, but that's why I always take a look at it. I can, what do I have on the screen? Can I tease you? Yeah, let me tease you guys before I go. So let's go A, B, N, B, and B. Right, so soon in Trade Ideas, this is going to be coming out soon. If it's not out already, it will actually tell you. So earnings 4 days from now, November 4th, after market close. This, I think, is awesome to have on the chart. So very soon that will make your life with that kind of stuff a lot easier to know, okay, give me the number of days. And for me, I think the minimum will be 5 to 7 days that I want to see ahead of earnings, probably preferably 10. So it doesn't just light up before it goes. It just straight tells you in plain English. So, all right, guys, good stream. If you're interested in checking out anything I do, link is in the description below. Go to my website. There's a free trading course there. There's my blog post, which I don't post in much, but I'm going to try to do more of. And again, you can check out my trading tools, give Stats Edge Pro a try if you're interested. And on your way out, if you don't mind hitting the like button on the way out, that helps out the channel awesomely. And have a good weekend, everyone.